stop overpaying for the other blue pills. Call us and start saving a ton of money for the exact same results. Ordering is fast and easy with your pills delivered to your door in a non-marked package. 800-223-0992. 800-223-0992. 800-223-0992. That's 800-223-0992.
Welcome to the show, Picks and Parlays Radio, on this Wednesday, October 16th. Picks and Parlays Radio is a show that tastes great, less filling, and guaranteed to satisfy your sports betting shortfalls. For those of you expecting Chelsa Messinger, well, you're going to be disappointed today because I'm Nick Geber. I'm in for Chelsa as she's out on maternity leave, if you didn't know that already. But we have a big show for you today, as we do always, and just like we are, every Monday through Friday, we stream live, not just on the radio, but we're also on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, everywhere you want to be. Find us on those streaming platforms. All right, today we're going to have El Guapo himself. Craig Trapp will be in. We're going to talk a little college football. Florida, South Carolina, LSU at Miss State. I've misstated it. There we go. And Deshaun Higgs will be joining us with some NFL. Ravens at Seahawks, Raiders at Packers, Saints at Bears, and finally the Duff Man himself, Joe Duffy. He'll be joining us and talking about Temple at SMU, Arizona at USC, and Texas A&M at Ole Miss. Those are the topics on the table today. That's what we're going to chat about, once again streaming live on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter. If you want to join the conversation, we encourage you to do that. You can do that by hashtagging, I don't know, is that a verb? To hashtag? I think it is. Parlays Radio. That's right. Hashtag Parlay Radio. And we will get your comment and we will put it up on the screen and endeavor to respond to it, provided it's not too rude. We can handle, a certain amount, but too rude, well, we do have our limits. We're with you Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. And also, we are broadcasting live to our men and women in uniform around the world on the American Forces Network. We love chatting to you guys and hope that you're keeping your heads low, staying safe, and enjoying the show. Remember, this show we put out a lot of free picks. If you want more free picks, go to our website, picksandparlays.net. We are absolutely chock full of free picks. And when you're ready, you can kick it up a notch and go with our expert pick packages for even more betting information. All right. We're going to take a break. I'm going to step aside. Going to get my guest, Craig Trapp, ready to come on. When we come back, we'll pick up the discussion right here on Picks and Parlays Radio.
The great thing about facts, they're proven. Like the fact that crude oil contains impurities, or that base oil made from natural gas is 99.5% free of impurities. And the fact that Pennzoil is the first synthetic motor oil made from natural gas, not crude oil. It gives you unbeatable engine protection. The proof is in the Pennzoil. Based on Sequence 4A wear test using SAE 5W30. Get a $100 travel reward credit with a full synthetic oil change through October 31st, 2019. Terms apply. Visit pennzoil.com/travel-on.
Money Now 100 is not a lender, broker, or agent of any lender or financial advisor. We do not make loans or credit decisions. You must be 18 years or older and a U.S. resident to qualify. This is not an offer or solicitation to lend. I went to MoneyNow100.com and got the $5,000 I needed deposited in my account the next business day. If you need money for any reason, help is here. Go to MoneyNow100.com and get the money you need. Need to pay off credit card debt? Go to MoneyNow100.com. Need your car repaired? Need home improvement money? Visit MoneyNow100.com. If you need fast cash for any reason, go to MoneyNow100.com. Good, bad, or no credit at all. Go to MoneyNow100.com. You could get up to $5,000 as soon as the next business day. Go to MoneyNow100.com on your phone, tablet, or computer. Type in the address bar MoneyNow100.com. That's MoneyNow100.com.
Okay, we're not sending to them.
Want to fly somewhere?
Hey, Dom, you there?
Flights or cheap tickets? Then call. That's right. Call the low-cost airline travel hotline now for prices so low we can't publish them anywhere. Low-cost Airlines has all kinds of cheap travel deals. Fly domestically and save up to 75%. You can even fly internationally and save even more. Yes, fly anywhere in the world and save a lot of money on your plane tickets. We'll even save you money with cheap travel deals on hotels, rental cars, even complete travel packages. So don't book your tickets until you call us first for the absolute cheapest prices on U.S. and international airline tickets and hotels. Call right now for prices so low they can't be published. Travel experts are here 24/7 to help. 800-754-4531. 800-754-4531. 800-754-4531. That's 800-754-4531.
Hey, you're that famous actress. You must travel so much. What's the best site for hotel deals?
Hilton.com.
No. One with crazy savings.
Hilton.com. With their price match guarantee, if you find a better rate, they match it and take 25% off.
No, one with lots of options.
Hilton.com has 16 top hotel brands. Hampton, Hilton Garden Inn, Waldorf Astoria.
Hilton.com. You should totally do their commercials.
Expect better. Expect Hilton.
You're good.
I know, thank you.
Applicable terms and conditions at Hilton.com.
All right, welcome back to the show, Picks and Parlays Radio. I'm Nick Geber. Great to be with you. By the way, you can find me on, well, don't be too surprised. You can find me on Twitter and my handle. It's at Nick Geber. I want to make it easy for you. At Nick Geber. Why don't you friend me? I could use more than one. It's always helpful. Follow me on Twitter, at Nick Geber. All right, I'm joined in studio by the man himself, the legend, El Guapo, CraigTrapp. Craig, we've got a lot to get to today. We were going to start, however, with baseball, but apparently Major League Baseball decided that a little rain in New York was going to mean that there was no game today.
Yeah, rain delay here could be bad news for the Nationals, of course, when they closed out last night for the National League, and congratulations making their first World Series, but now they're going to probably have even more time to wait before the start of the World Series.
Yeah, well, that's, the interesting thing is, I wonder what statistically those weights, what effect they have on the outcome of the game. I think we spoke about this yesterday. I forget who I was talking to. I could look at my notes, but, another one of our expert handicappers, I asked that same question, and he kind of said that it all evens out in the end. But I'm not sure it does, because, I believe in momentum in sports, and when you're on that winning momentum, when you have to go through, say, a 7-game series, and you've got the highs and the lows and the adrenaline of finally getting through, you want to get back into action as soon as possible. And
it's a starting pitching also.
Yeah,
you can set your starting pitching up so that you can have your best starter start game 1, 4, and 7, or 1 and 5, or whatever you like. But obviously the Astros might not have that flexibility if this series with the Yankees goes longer, or if the Yankees go longer with their series.
Is that your computer? It's just binging away.
Bing.
All right, okay. All right, well, let's get to it. Let's talk college football, shall we? Because we promised that we would. And if I can find the games, we'll talk about it. We were going to do Florida at South Carolina. Let's do that one. Florida 6-1, coming off a loss to LSU, coming off a loss to the Tigers, 42-68. South Carolina 3-3. Big upset, though, over the Georgia Bulldogs in second overtime. The question is, what is the status of Ryan Helinski? Is he going to be all right to play? I think a lot really depends on that, Craig. It's Florida minus 6.5. You tell me the line's changed. Total's 49. What do you have on this one?
Yeah, I see this line has opened at 6.5. I see it all the way down to 5 in some spots. My points bet has it at 5. Bet 365. Bet 3. There's some 5.5s out there. Only 6 I see is DraftKings right now. So you definitely want to shop that line around. Also see the total opened at 48. I even see some 48.5s out there. Even a 49 if you like. If you like the under, might probably want to go to DraftKings. But I think it sounds like, and I would guess with this line, suggests that Ryan Helinski will play. But of course, obviously, if that happens that he doesn't, I think Florida probably will go. That line will go back up. Florida. They did lose by 14 points, but against LSU. But Florida played much better than the final outcome suggested. That game was in doubt heading into the fourth quarter. I think hard to imagine that they were going to be better going to a quarterback that hadn't started since high school. But Kyle Trask has looked very, very good and has shown some more explosiveness in this offense, which needed because they were not a very good passing offense before he took over.
All right, next up, let's talk about LSU versus Mississippi State, the 5th-ranked.
Hold on a second. We better give a pick in this one.
Oh, I thought you did.
I forgot to give it up.
Oh.
Florida Gators minus 5. So Florida
you're going
Gators,
with the -5.
we're going to take the favorite here. I would bet this early because I'm just going to suggest that if he doesn't play, Helinski doesn't play, I think this line will go back the other way. So let's be safe. Let's bet it early. Florida Gators minus 5 at South Carolina on the road. Florida wins this. They still control their own destiny. If they win out, I still think Florida could end up in the championship because I think Georgia has a potential to lose again.
All right, let's stay in the SEC, shall we, and go to 5th-ranked LSU versus Mississippi State. LSU 6-0, following on a 42-28 win over Florida. Mississippi State, they're 3-3 after being upset by Tennessee 20-10. The Volunteers' defense played absolute havoc with the Bulldogs. Mississippi, though, just named true freshman Garrett Schrader as their starting quarterback. LSU are big favorites here, total 62. How do you see this one, Craig?
Well, this line opened at 18. I see it all the way up to 18.5. LSU favored here for a good reason. LSU has looked very, very good. Total at 61.5. There's some 60.5s out there, so you definitely want to shop that one around a little bit. This Mississippi State team, I thought it was going to be a little better this year, but they have not been so. Last year, LSU won 19-3. Of course, since then, this LSU offense now with Joe Burrow taking the handcuffs off this year, really wide open offense. They are scoring tons of points this year. I think you have to take the over here. I just think I'm not in love with the way this Mississippi State team's been playing on defense. I think LSU puts up 40 by themselves this week. So we're going to take the over 61 here, as I think Coach O, Ed Orgeron, has really done the right thing here at LSU, taken what it was a defensive-minded team for decades and now turned them into an offensive powerhouse. And so far, so good. LSU has looked very good, maybe as impressive or maybe even more so than, of course, what I would call Big Brother Alabama.
Well, Mississippi State is 6-1 against the spread in its last 7 at home, and the over has cashed in 5 of the Bulldogs' last 7. So you're going with the over.
Yeah,
would seem that that's the way to go.
Both been good on over.
Yeah.
5-1 this year for LSU. 4-2 on the overs for Mississippi State. So I just think this defense is not cut out for the speed. This LSU team, they've always had tons of speed, and we've seen all the great receivers they put into the league, but they've always had handcuffs on them where they're just going to run and play run the ball and play defense. Not so much anymore. Let's take the over 61.5 as LSU whoops up on Mississippi State.
All right, well, we were going to do baseball, but of course the rain played havoc with our baseball. And by the way, here we go. I have to stretch to read this, but Intincula on YouTube says, when do you get to talk about the Premier League, Nick? We need your opinions. Well, thank you so much. You want to tune in tomorrow because I will be giving you my complete Premier League preview for the weekend. Tell you where to put your hard-earned dosh. All right, well, let's get back to college football instead of baseball. South Alabama Jaguars at Troy. South Alabama 1-5. Troy 2-3. South Alabama coming off a loss to Georgia Southern. Troy coming off a 42-10 loss to Missouri. Both these teams in the Sun Belt Conference and not doing very well.
Well, this is one of my best plays tonight. Of course, you can always get my best plays over at picksandparlays.net. Sun Belt action, of course, Tuesdays and Wednesdays. These is what I call Sun Belt days. This time of year, and from here on out, you'll see Sun Belt action. South Alabama not been very good this year, so my top play is going to be on the side, so we're not going to give that out. But I do think on the total here, I just think it's going to be a little lower scoring than people think. I think these weekday games, people think they go way over, but historically, when you look at it, it's not always the case. So let's take the under 55.5. I think it's going to be a pretty low-scoring game, and I don't think South Alabama can get into a high-scoring game if they even want to keep it close, because Troy is way more talented, way more speed on offense. And I think that one, that means you take the under here. Yeah, I just think when you get into Sun Belt action, these teams match up way better. When Troy or South Alabama plays the SEC,
Right,
the
of
Big
course,
Ten,
yeah.
they just don't have the size, especially on the offensive defensive line. These match up way better together. I just think historically these the weekday games are a little lower scoring than people think. I just think these teams don't get on television very often, so everybody wants to play good, keep it close on TV. I think South Alabama runs the ball, tries to take the air out of the ball, and that's why I like the under 55.5.
All right, there you have our picks for today. 3 college football picks. We have South Alabama, Troy, Florida, South Carolina, LSU, Mississippi State. If you missed any of these picks, you can find them at picksandparlays.net. We encourage you to go there. We have loads and loads of free picks. And we have our expert picks there for you as well. All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back after this with loads more here on Picks and Parlays Radio. And welcome back to the show, Picks and Parlays Radio, coming to you live on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Great to be with you. My Well, my name is Nick Eber, but my Twitter handle is @NickEber, to make it easy for you. Didn't have anything too complicated. All right, well, we've been promising you some NFL football. We're going to bring that to you right now. Joining us, our expert football NFL handicapper, a member of the Flat Earth Society, bon vivant, man about town, judge of good whiskey himself, Deshaun Higgs joins us. Sean, thanks for coming on.
Should have brought up my Johnny Walker Blue. Whiskey.
Why not?
Matches my I don't want to say it. It's a globed shirt. It's funny. It's round and it's supposed to be flat. It should be like a pancake, shouldn't it?
Well, one would think, but and the body it's on, is it flat or a little round, though? That's the question.
Well, it's round around my stomach, that's for sure. I want to thank your producer for sending that out to me. I didn't know he was a member. That's awesome.
Yes, exactly. All right, Deshaun, we're going to do some NFL today because that's what we have. Let's start with Ravens and Seahawks. The Ravens are 4-2 after a 23-17 win over the Bengals. Oh, I love this one, by the way. This is one of my favorite games because both these teams we're going to deal with have dealt crushing defeats to both the Bengals and the Browns. I know our dear Guapo himself, Craig Trapp, doesn't like to hear that, but that is what happened. All right, the Ravens mentioned the 23-17 win over the Bengals. Lamar Jackson, by the way, just became the first player in the Super Bowl era to rush for over 150 yards and pass over 200 yards in the same game. That's a pretty impressive statistics. Yeah, the Seahawks 5-1, coming off a 32-28 win over the Browns. We mentioned that. Seahawks 3-0 on the road, but only 2-1 at home. I got -3.5 for the Seahawks on this one with a total of 50.5. What say you, Deshaun?
Yeah, seeing that 3.5, and actually I see the number now for just coming on here. It's down to 49.5 for a total, which is pretty interesting. Seattle on 11-3 overrun. They're the number 7th most aggressive offense with almost 67 plays per game. Baltimore number 1 over 70. It's actually at 73 plays per game. Like you mentioned, Lamar, well, man, where'd that come from? Good for him, because everybody was like, you can't get rid of Flacco. Don't put this gimmicky quarterback in here. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, the guy's got, 11, 12 passing touchdowns, another probably got 4. I don't know how many he has on the ground, at least 4 or so. I mean, he's putting it together. But you know what? For the show, we're going to be giving out, I like the over here, 49-50, just because these offenses put up points. I mean, we see Seattle putting up points. Baltimore could put up points. They're also in 3 straight conference games. You mentioned Cleveland, Pitt, Cincy. So here's a spot where, maybe you're winded. It's not a really must-win game. It's out of conference. It's basically out of the country. You're in the Northwest, away from everything else. So maybe it's one of those games where it's not as desperate as they need to get a big win in. But Seattle's wins, 4 of their 5 wins, 1, 2, 1, and 4 points. That's I don't know. I see this 3.5. Part of me wants to take Seattle because I think they're enticing you with that half point. But the other part of me says, Seattle hasn't really blown anybody out. They fall behind, they get back into the game. I think for me, I'm going to definitely have to go over as my best side here on this game here. I mean, I kind of like the points, but Seattle at home is very tough. And how about this? Ravens 6 straight covers as dogs, so you got that working in your favor if you're a Baltimore fan. But for me, I don't know. I mean, it's Wednesday. I'll probably do a little more work on this game if I'm going to come up with a side. But right now, definitely the over if I could get over that 50.
All right, the over has cashed. And the over has cashed in 4 of the Ravens' last 6 and 8 of the Seahawks' last 10. So statistically, I would say the over is like the Force. It is with you, Deshaun. There seems to be no doubt about that. All right, let's move on to the next game, shall we? Raiders at Packers. The Raiders 3-2, returning from a bye week. Now they get to go to Green Bay. Of course, they did the bye week because they were in London playing at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Derek Carr, the quarterback there. The Packers have a short week, having beat the Lions in dramatic fashion on Monday Night Football. Aaron Rodgers, by the way, real class act, I think, in some of the things he said in his post-game interview. The Packers are heavy home favorites at -278 on the money line. But I have to ask this question. How does the extra rest for the Raiders and the Packers' short week affect the betting on this match, Deshaun?
Well, I mean, listen, anytime I get a team with short rest, you got to think you're going to have a little bit of a letdown kind of week. Although, listen, I was huge on the Rams last week because the 49ers came in short rest and Seattle had extra rest, and we saw how that played out. So you really don't know. But in this case, for the Raiders, I think you got to like this. I don't like the extra week, believe it or not. I mean, the way they've been playing, 3 wins. Who saw that? These guys were supposed to be the joke of the league, right? You got rid of Mack last year, Brown, Amari Cooper. Like, these guys are supposed to be nowhere to be seen. A month on the road, right? Was there basically their 6th straight road game coming up? They got Houston next week. I actually like the Raiders here. This line was actually like 7.5 when the first opened. I see 5.5 now on this. I mean, that is insane. But what have we seen from Aaron Rodgers? He's got a banged up wide receiver core. No Devontae. That's a big part of this team. The over, I was gonna put the over out here. I like the over a lot, but the more I'm doing my work on this game, I'm kind of liking the Raiders. This line keeps coming down. I don't know why. I mean, Rodgers versus Carr is not any kind of toss-up. I like the way the Raiders are playing.
So you like a straight pick them. You like a straight money line play on the Raiders? What are they then? Plus 278?
Well, I don't know about money line. I mean, I'm taking some lumps on money line plays this year. I'm getting burned. I had Dolphins the other day as a money line play. And see how that one turned out, going for 2.
Well, that's because you went on the Dolphins on a money line play. I mean, do you need another explanation for that?
Hey, come on. You go for 2. They were right there. That's a cover. And again, here we go. Same thing as this game. That game opened at 6, came all the way down to 3. This game was at 7. It's down to 5.5 now. So, I mean, you see the money, sharp money, smart money, whatever you want to call it, it's coming in on the dog here. And I'm believing in the Raiders, believe it or not. And I was against them a few times. I've been against them a lot. And if I was against them, I wasn't playing the game. But I'm going to take a shot here with them. Green Bay, let's be honest. Thank you. Send a thank you card to the referees. You had no right winning that game. Lousy play calling by the Lions because they can't get a touchdown. You're settling for 3 points. That's going to come back, bite you in the butt. It did. Give me the Raiders, though, here. And I like the over as well. I think we're going to see some points here for sure.
So take the Raiders and the over on this one.
Yeah, we'll do both.
All right, do them both. All right, just don't ever take the Dolphins. You should know that by now. Okay, I have to tell you that. Oh, by the way, Charlie M writes us on YouTube. He says he likes the Raiders for the money line. And what is the? So what is the? Do you have the money line? Is it what? It's got to be what? Plus 278, right?
If it's,
240.
No. If they're laying like 270, 280, it's depending where you shop around. I mean, some are good spreads. You could get 240, 260 range. Other places are going to give you like 210.
Got it, yeah.
Crappy shops, but always find a good number.
Charlie says, big letdown spot for the Packers. Interesting stuff, Charlie. Keep the comments coming. We'd love to hear from you. Facebook, YouTube,
Monday night,
Twitter.
Off Detroit.
We're all over there. That is so true. All right, let's go to the last game we got here. The Saints at Bears. The Saints are 5-1. Top of the NFC South, despite not having Drew Brees. Teddy Bridgewater, really great job there. Really one of the great stories, I think, of the season. And the Bears, 3-2. They lost 24-21 against the Raiders. We just spoke about that in London at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Chicago, they're -3. The over-under is 38.5. How do you see this one, Deshaun? Take it away.
So how about, who would have signed up the Saints going 4-0 with Teddy Bridgewater when Brees goes down? Who saw that one coming?
I don't know. You know what, though, Sean? I will tell you, this is, we talk about keeping up with the Kardashians and the, you can keep up with the Great Race and all these quote-unquote reality shows. They're all scripted. I mean, maybe not scripted, but they're all written. I mean, the storylines are all put out there for you. Sports is the only true reality show you will get on television. Where on earth are you going to get a story like this, Deshaun? Teddy Bridgewater coming in and going just perfect after Drew Brees goes out. You're right. I mean, this is why we watch, right?
Absolutely. I mean, and let's be honest. Bridgewater was a starter for the Vikings. He was an All-Pro, whatever that means. I mean, a lot of guys get hurt. A lot of guys to make the All-Pro team. But it's not like he was Luke Falk for the Jets coming in off the bench.
Right.
He was a serviceable starter. So, and you got Kamara, you got a good running back. You got Thomas, you got a good wide receiver. You got a good offensive line. You got a decent defense. You got a great head coach. So it's not like he's bumbling into a bad situation. But you still got to go out there and produce, and he's done it. Listen, this line was at 4.5, and I was like, man, that line's a little high. Now it's dropped a point. Now we're at 3. I see his total of 38. As I mentioned, the Bears off a terrible game against the Raiders. Now, I think I'm going to get an angry Bears team. Defense still gives up less than 14 points a game. I'm actually liking the under here. I mean, we see some high numbers in the NFL nowadays. You see a 38. The Bears 17-6-1 against the spread their last 24 at home. How about this with New Orleans? 13 points against the Jacksonville, 12 against Dallas. They took 9 in a loss to the Rams. I mean, they're 2 big games, 31-24 over Tampa, 33-27 over Seattle. Bad defenses. Those are bad defenses. Bears defense is not in that kind of category. So I think we're going to see a low-scoring game because you're going to get that out of Mitch Trubisky or Chase Daniel, who's ever quarterback in the Bears. So you don't need much offense. So I think we see a low-scoring game here. 38, I think people will be thinking, 38 is way too low. I don't know, man. I think that's right on the money. This will be like a 2013 type game, 17-10. It's going to go back old school, 3 yards in a cloud of dust type football from the 80s. I think it's going to be low-scoring. Under the 38 is my play.
All right, Deshaun. And the under is 4-0, and the Saints' last 4 games on grass, and the under is 5-0
from the dome.
The under is 5-0 in Bears' last 5 home games. So you're going the under. Stats would say the under. Square 707 Steam PS4 on YouTube says, do they talk about boxing? Yes, we do. Just not this show, but stay tuned because we love to talk boxing. All right, Sean, thank you so much. If you like Sean's picks and you want more of them, once again, go to picksandparlays.net. We got loads of free picks, including Sean's and all the free picks from our other stable of expert handicappers, as well as their top-notch expert picks as well when you're ready to really get serious about your sports betting. All right, we're going to step aside, take a break. When we come back, we'll be joined by the Duff Man himself, Joe Duffy. Let's talk some more college football. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back to the show, Picks and Parlays Radio. I'm your host, Nick Geber, in for Chelsea Messenger. Great to be with you, as we are with you each and every weeknight from 4 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on the Sports Byline Broadcast Network. Also streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. If you want to join the discussion, you can do that on any of our social media platforms. And if you want to get on Twitter and hashtag us, you can do that at hashtag Parlay Radio. All right, we promised you just a smidgen more college football. Joining us, another one of our absolute expert, knock 'em out of the park handicappers, the Duff Man, the Duffmeister himself, Joe Duffy. Joe, welcome back. 2 days in a row, I want to say.
Yeah, that is true. You can accurately say that, Nick. You know what? I heard you asking El Guapo, was listening to the entire show. Great show. I do have the answer to that question you were asking as far as teams with a lot more rest in the baseball playoffs, if we have time for it.
Okay, we're probably going to have time because we have only 3 college games to get to today. We've, of course, curated these. These are specially curated, personally curated by your personal curator of games, El Guapo himself. But we're going to talk about, let's start with Temple at SMU, shall we? 19th ranked SMU, 6-0 on the season, top of the AAC West. The last game was a close run affair versus Tulsa, but a win nevertheless. Temple, 5-1, top of the AAC East. They're coming off a win against number 23 ranked Memphis. SMU currently -7.5, total 59. Interestingly, I'm wondering, Joe, if this, just from a fan's perspective, we'll get to the betting piece in a minute, is this going to be the best college football game this weekend?
I don't know if it's going to be the best. It'll certainly be the best outside the Power 5. I mean, look, Temple has become relevant ever since Al Golden made them relevant about a half dozen years ago, and it's nice to, a dozen years ago, I should say. And SMU, it's great to see that they are finally back. So it's going to be a great game to watch. I would say it's going to be as anticipated as any game not involving a power conference all year.
For sure, for sure. I mean, the AAC is not the SEC, there's no doubt about that. But just 2 teams that are on the ascendancy, that are kind of feeling their oats, that have momentum behind them, that both these teams like to score points. This should be a really fun game. By the way, Charlie M. Writes to us on YouTube, and he agrees. He says SMU is underrated, and they are a very good team. I'm really looking forward to this game, Joe. I'm going to watch it myself. But it's SMU -7.5. They are the favorites, total 59. How do you see this one?
Well, Temple this year has played their best against the best. They're 2-0 straight up and against the spread against ranked teams. They beat Maryland earlier in the year, and then they beat Memphis as well. However, rested ranked home teams are very solid, 104, 74, and 4 against the spread. That would benefit SMU. SMU is the 5th best team in the nation in terms of margin of cover. Some people like to call it the sweat barometer. They're 5-1 against the spread, covering by an average of 10.7 points per game. They've also been, you said it, Nick, probably high scoring. They've been the 7th best over team, going over all 6 of their games by an average of 10.2 points per game. This might come as a little bit of a surprise. Now, granted, some people could argue it's not totally relevant because SMU is off of a bye week, and it's fortunate for them because they had a triple overtime game, but still can be mentally exhausting. But, teams off a triple overtime win are actually a solid 22-17 against the spread.
That's really interesting, Joe. I love that point because triple overtime, we said it was a close run affair. As we say in football or in soccer, it's a squeaky bum time, but they did make it through. They did get that win nevertheless. But, that is that momentum, and we were kind of alluding to this, and you want to talk about this later about baseball. If you come off a hard-won 7-game series that you win, you've got that momentum and that drive, and you've got that winning taste in your mouth. I just wonder, they do have a bye week after this, but still, they've got that taste and they got that adrenaline still pumping from that win. This should be a great one. I'm really going to look forward to this one.
Yeah, there's a theory that teams, they need to be tested. That's a good thing if they're tested and they survive it. But, at the same time, with each win, SMU gets that burden of high expectations, which I do think, the old saying, it's easier to be the hunter than the hunted. But now they are the hunted. But, look, they're battling. They could be in the Cotton Bowl, so that would be big for them. They would get, if they are able to leapfrog Boise State as the highest rated non-Power 5 team, they would play in the Cotton Bowl right in Dallas.
Fantastic stuff. All right, next up, Arizona at the University of Spoilt Children. Arizona are 5-1, coming off a win against the Colorado Buffaloes, 35-40. USC 3-3. Now look, you might wonder what has happened to the USC program that they're 3-3, and I'll tell you, it's very simple. That's what happens when you stack your team with a bunch of guys that really have never played the sport before, but whose parents bribed the coaching staff to get them in on scholarship. I mean, that's what happens, folks. And are you surprised? No, you shouldn't be. But what you should be surprised is at the stupidity of those parents who did that. Didn't they know they could just make a donation to the college and get their kid in anyway without ruining the athletic programs? All right, USC 3-3, coming off a big loss to Notre Dame. I don't like this university very much, in case you didn't figure that out by now. Joe, USC, though, -9. They're the favorites. Totals are 66.5, unless that's changed. But, gosh, I'm praying for a big, big, big Arizona win.
Yeah, well, Nick, the truth is, look, if you're a 4 or 5 star, even a 3-star recruit, your parents don't have to pay for you to get in there. They're going to happily pay for you to go play football there at USC. I'm sure, at UCLA, they certainly wouldn't do that. But at a school like USC, I know they used to, certainly when Pete Carroll was there. But
they pay the athletes, don't they? Yes, I know. Yeah, they do. But then there are still those members of the team that, they're there in athletic photo only because they never show up for training. Okay, we'll leave that one there.
I know. But, this is one of those games that I do think is going to be pretty high scoring. Arizona is second in the Pac-12 with 103 plays of at least 10 yards, second in plays of at least 20 yards. Basically, I could ramble on the statistics. They are very, very explosive. USC's been one of those predictably unpredictable teams. Really, since Helton's been there, they've never really totally matched their talent when it came to production. But when you have two teams like this, like I said, I'm not a big live line better, but because these teams are so erratic, and with Arizona being explosive, I think Arizona is a team that could score 20 points in one quarter and then get a clean sheet, as you like to say in over there in England, in another quarter, right? So I do think that, if anything, the live total is tempting here. If it's a low-scoring game, I would bet the adjusted total over. If it's a high-scoring game, I would bet the adjusted total under. But all in all, USC is also explosive, 8.2 yards per pass. The team's normally allowing just 6.9, and they average 9.5 at home. So for a full game pick, I think it's going to be quite high-scoring. Definitely not a clean sheet, a very dirty sheet at the end, and I do think it'll exceed the 66.5, 67 points.
Wow. High-scoring game. Come on, Arizona. Yeah. All right. Next up, Texas A&M and Ole Miss. Texas A&M are 3-3. They got soundly beaten, 47-28, but was by top-ranked Alabama. The Aggies are averaging 32.8 points per game, allowing only 17.8. The Rebels, on the other hand, 3-4. Losing the last game to Missouri, 38-27. Rebels averaging 27.2 points per game, allowing only 25.7. A&M -6. The total here, 56. Joe, I don't know. This doesn't seem to be. This is like a battle of two somewhat mediocre teams this season.
Yeah, and a lot of people, the so-called experts, when they looked at Alabama's schedule at the beginning of the year, they said the one game that they could possibly lose would be to Texas A&M. And, of course, that did really turn out all that well. Sometimes we can outsmart ourselves. But Texas A&M, they have, though, played one of the toughest schedules in the country. So you got to keep that into perspective. They lost to Alabama, number 1. They lost to Clemson, which is number 3. And they lost to Auburn, which is number 11. So certainly a baptism by fire here. Meanwhile, Ole Miss, they've been doing pretty well since John Plumlee took over as their starting quarterback. They've at least covered all 3 of those games. And in fact, in the SEC this year, that's probably a surprising statistic. I don't know why I'm struggling with that word. I haven't in the past. But anyway, Ole Miss is leading the conference in rushing in conference games at 283.2 points per game. What I like here, Ole Miss also is the number 1 team in the country as far as production from freshmen. 85% of their offensive productions come at the hands of freshmen. Freshman-laden teams, and we're going to see this in college basketball too, they generally play better at home, and of course, they generally play better as the year goes on. It's admittedly, I'm a little worried it's kind of a must-win situation for them. They want to become bowl eligible, but still, think Ole Miss is a very dangerous home underdog here, and that's why I'll take the points at home.
So you can take the points at home, right? Well, the over is 4-0 in the Rebels' last 4 games after allowing more than 450 total yards in their previous game. And that is one of those derived statistics that I just love. You've got to almost map it out to figure out how you got there. But it is true. So that's where we're going on that one. Joe, thank you. That will wrap up our college football. But we still have a bit of time left. So let's touch on some baseball. Let's talk about this rain delay in the Astros-Yankees game. What does that typically do in terms of betting lines?
Yeah, and this information like this is why I'm on a 16-4 overall run at picks and parlays. Teams with 3 or more days rest than their opponent in the playoffs are on an 8-0 run. And sit down for this, Nick. Teams with 2 or more days rest than their opponent in the playoffs on a 13-0 run.
Wow.
So, is it going to be rust or is it going to be rest? Now, keep in mind, not shockingly, it's usually the much better team is rested. So in most of these cases, the team has been the favorite, not in all of them. But the very recently, and even in the history of my database, it's still 13-5 and 25-13 respectively. But over the last few years, the more rested team has dominated the postseason.
Well, interestingly enough, okay, forget this this Astros-Yankees series. I mean, the Nationals. What are they doing? They've got so much time. They can go on vacation, visit Las Vegas, hit the Strip. I mean, they're going to be really well rested. Is it possible they're going to be too well rested?
No, I definitely think that's something that you want to worry about. But still, I don't know. All in all, I think it's good that their pitchers are going to be quite rested. They can still throw on the side. That's something that, Leo Mazzoni really started where he loves for his pitchers to throw on off days. And I know that's not the same as pitching in game conditions, but look, these aces, they got, in the upper hundreds, 200 innings pitched this year. I don't think they're going to become too rusty. And, the guys, they can take batting practice. All in all, in any sport, in the rust versus rest, I think I'd rather be rested, especially when you're getting this deep in the season. Of course, we're in the playoffs.
Well, yeah, but is that unique to baseball? That's the question, really, because, your pitchers, certainly, I mean, their arms tire, become a problem. And if you have enough rest, you can maybe look at the rotation that you were going to do, and you can sort of work with a clean slate, I guess, and change who you were going to play when, where, and how, because maybe the pitchers are much better rested. But maybe what about other sports like football? I mean, or well, I don't know, lacrosse. No, just let's say football. I don't know that rest is necessarily a great thing. Too much rest, you can get rusty. I think the rust factor does play into it.
Yeah, we have NBA around the corner. As a general rule of thumb, what I found out is that rest benefits the teams that need the rest. When a team is slumping, rest is good. When a team is playing well, rest is bad. Now, granted, the statistic I just gave you in the playoffs, that would kind of contradict that. But we're talking about in the middle of the season. That's definitely what I found in the NBA. And the same thing with bye weeks in the NFL. The bye weeks benefit the teams that need to make adjustments. Teams that don't need to make the adjustments, I think, are hurt from the bye week. But at the same time, I spent hours in front of the computer trying to find great advantages for rest versus unrest. And over a full season, none of my best systems really have to do with rest dichotomies, to be honest with you.
All right. Well, Joe Duffy, you are the expert, and you can find the Duffmeister and all of his picks at picksandparlays.net. Once again, loads of free picks, and when you're ready, the expert picks are there for you. Joe, thank you very much. We'll have you back on here shortly. Coming up after the show, we'll have after the break. Not after the show. After the show, I'll be having a cigar and a drink. After the break, though, I'll be recapping today's picks. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, Picks and Parlays Radio. I'm Nick Geber. Great to be with you. That's right, every day, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. I am with you. I believe Thursday and Friday we will have Chelsa Messinger back, so I'll get a little break. But we are live on the Sports Byline Network every day of the week for your edification. Well, as promised, here are the picks from today. If you missed them, I'm going to put them right up for you right now. Let's start, shall we? Craig, here's college football picks. Florida, South Carolina. Take Florida -5. LSU at Mississippi State. Take the over 61.5. Then we moved along and we went straight to Sean Higgs. Deshaun himself for the NFL. Ravens at Seahawks. Take the over 50. Raiders at Packers. Take over 47. And the Saints at Bears. Take under 38. Then the always entertaining Joe Duffy joined us with college football. Temple at SMU. Take Temple plus 7.5. Arizona at USC. Take the over 67, and Texas A&M at Ole Miss. Take Ole Miss plus 6.5. Listen, if you missed any of these picks, there's a number of ways to get them again. You can find the podcast of this show immediately following the show, either on our website, or you can find the replay on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or you can go to Believe Podcasts, BLEAV.com, where we're up there, the podcast right after the show. You can find it there. By the way, programming note for those of you wanting my Premier League picks tomorrow, I promise I will give you my Premier League picks and predilections, and some big matches this weekend, including a huge one, Liverpool going to Old Trafford to face Manchester United in one of football's most heated rivalries. We'll talk about it tomorrow. Until then, hope you enjoyed the show. Just a reminder, picksandparlays.net is where you'll find all of our picks, free picks, expert picks, analysis. Our handicappers are incredible. If you've been listening to them today, you know just how good they are. Go to picksandparlays.net and give yourself a leg up with your sports betting. You know, the first stage to knowing that you have a problem is when you admit you do. And if you need help, well, we're going to give you the sports betting tips you need. All right, until tomorrow. Visit us at picksandparlays.net. Remember, bet, win, repeat.